Hello, everyone, and welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville. It's the home every Tuesday night for the Coach Al Holland Show, where we talk University of Pikeville Bears football. The Bears coming off a tough road loss in Mid-South Conference East action last Saturday to the Union Bulldogs. We'll recap that game, and we'll take a look at Senior Day coming up this Saturday. The Hambly Complex is the scene as UPike will host Kentucky Christian. You'll meet a couple of the Bears seniors tonight on this edition as well. Right now we're joined by the head coach of your University of Pikeville Bears, Coach Al Holland, and tough trip in the Mid-South Conference. You can say it every week, but going to Union, there's a little bit of a mountain rivalry there, and you got a taste of that on Saturday.
We sure did, and a tough road trip for us. Two programs trying to build it and do things the right way, and they came out on top. It was a tough loss for us. Had some injuries early in the game. A questionable call early in the game, but that's just part of it. And you got to overcome adversity, and that's what we talked to our team about. And day in and day out, how are you going to handle adversity? And we didn't handle it very well. We fought back into the ball game and gave ourselves a chance, and didn't make no plays down the stretch. And that makes it tough on the road. But outside our comfort zone, and that's what we talked about. How are we going to handle ourselves outside our comfort zone this week on the road? We've been at home, played well at home, had two big wins at home, and then we go on the road, and that made it a little bit tougher for us this past weekend, and we got to get back on track. We sit right there and sort of hold our own destiny, so we got to get back to a one-game championship this weekend and win at home.
Of course, held to just 7 points. You lost your quarterback early on, the guy that's getting most of the snaps during the course of the week, and you lose him. That throws your offense into a funk.
It does, and him taking 65-70% of the reps, and then Shannon Patrick probably took the other 20-25%, and then R.J. Gordon that you've seen, then we'll get a talk to here that caught a ball and then played in our wild bear, and was a former quarterback. We put him back there and gave us a spark at quarterback and spark on offense this past weekend, just with his athletic ability. So that made it tough for us, just trying to find something to get going. Move the ball, but couldn't finish some drives and couldn't finish on third and fourth down conversions. So a tough day for us, but we got to bounce back from it. We got to have a 24-hour rule. We got to sort of put it behind us, learn from those mistakes, and get ready for a big Senior Day Kentucky Christian coming to our place.
Indeed, we'll preview that coming up a little later. You'll meet a couple of the Bears as well, but let's wrap up Union on the road Saturday with highlights from Saturday's action as the Bears were in Barberville taking on the Bulldogs.
Early on, defense played really well. Other than 3 plays, we gave up 3 big plays in the ball game, and those 3 plays accumulated for 202 yards of their offense and 2 of their scores. But, here's Miles Bluen, one of our little slot receivers, doing a great job on our jet sweep there. Here's Chad Conway. It's in the house tonight, one of our seniors getting a sack in the ball game. Kirksey with a nice run here, continuing to push it down the field and make plays. We just need a little bit more of that throughout the ball game. This was late in the game there, and he had a nice play there. We seem to put pressure on the quarterback all day. T. Brown gets his first pick of the season. Continuing to watch him develop. He's going to be a big-time player for us in this program. Here was Shannon Patrick finding Anthony Brown, a nice hole shot over on the sideline there. Trying to set up a drive here to get some points. Demir Karapanzik, I can't say enough about him, Andrew, and what a great job he's done kicking the football this season. He averaged 46 or 48 yards on the day, had a 60-some yarder, and that, doing a great job there and helping change the field and field position. Cam Parsley here, I want to say he had 10 tackles on the day for us, continuing to set that edge for us and bring some life to the defense, and we got to continue to get big plays out of him as the season keeps going along. Here was Gordon getting his touchdown, first rushing touchdown of the season here out of the Wild Bear set for us. Here was Emmett Kersey coming up and making a nice play. We had a bunch of highlights, especially defensively, had a bunch of plays and did a good job and was solid all day. It's just that one play here or there that really cost us. Collie Taylor, a senior that's in the house, making a nice tackle. and Mike Howard, another senior. So a lot of seniors we're going to miss. That's getting a lot of valuable minutes. Here was a big play, Jordan Mattingly with the field goal block that could have set things up for a game tying or game winning drive for us. And Kylie Taylor with another tackle on the day for us. That ended up creating a turnover and giving us a chance. A lot of defensive highlights, a bunch of highlights on the day. Just came up on the short end of the side of things.
Defense has played really well the second half of the season, and I was teasing with Coach Williams, you better look out. You're going to have some guys coming after you to take over their defensive units, some other schools that need to give up fewer points.
Yep.
The defense has done a great job. The offense has been bothered by injuries much of the year. We'll talk more about the Bears and Kentucky Christian. That's coming up Saturday, Senior Day at the Hambly Complex. We'll step out and we'll be rejoined by Bear players next. It's the Al Holland Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless, live from Buffalo Wild Wings. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville. It's the home of the Al Holland Show, where we talk U-Pike football at this time every Tuesday evening. The Bears, of course, celebrating Senior Day this Saturday at the Hambly Athletic Complex. Mid-South Conference East action with Kentucky Christian University coming to town, and we'll preview that matchup coming up a little later. Right now, we step into the Bears den, and you'll meet a couple of the Bears players. From the offensive side of the football, R.J. Gordon, a 6'2 senior out of California, joins us now. And, R.J., welcome to the Al Holland Show.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us. You come from California. You end up at the University of Pikeville. Tell us that story.
Well, I was just looking for a place to call home, and Coach Brian Williams came and visited my junior college, and it was kind of a perfect fit. I liked everything that UPike had to offer, and they needed a junior college quarterback transfer, so it worked out perfectly.
Long way from home.
Yeah, but I love it. I love the small-town vibe. I actually come from a pretty small place, about 2 hours outside of Los Angeles, so I'm having a good time.
Very good. And, RJ, let's talk about the student-athlete. Let's talk about your academic major. What is your major? What do you plan to do in the future?
I'm a communications major, and I plan to do some type of management. I'm actually talking to Sherwin-Williams right now about a management position, so I'm just I want to stay around here. So,
do you?
Yeah, I'm having a good time just figuring out everything that comes after December.
Very good. And, of course, Senior Day coming up on Saturday. What will that be like, putting on the pads for the final time on your home field?
It's unreal, honestly. It's been a lifelong process. I've been playing this game since I was 8. My mom hasn't got to see Pikeville yet. She'll be here. My grandparents will be here.
Wow.
So it's going to be an awesome situation. I can't wait. It's a lot of emotions, for sure.
I would imagine you have no idea what that's even going to feel like.
No.
But a special day coming
definitely.
up. And you plan to stay in the area going into management. What drew your attention? What kept you here in Kentucky or in the area as opposed to heading back to California?
Well, I just fell in love with the city first. I fell in love with this place. And a girl. I got a girlfriend.
There you go.
Yeah, she's going to keep me around.
Nothing wrong with that. RJ, of course, you talk about you've been playing football since you were 8 years old. Let's talk about someone who was an influence in your football career. Someone maybe at that young age, someone from middle school or high school that was an influence, a particular influence on your football career.
My father, most definitely. He played football, made it professionally for a little while, and then he's been a coach for the last 20 years.
Sure.
So he was a huge influence. I played for him my whole life, and it was rocky at times, but his influence on me, I mean, I can't talk about it enough. It's been great.
Other guys have a tough game. They can go home. They don't have to hear it from dad and the coach. You go home, you hear it from dad and the coach.
Yeah,
absolutely. R.J. Gordon, 6'2 senior out of Lancaster, California, our guest on the Al Holland Show. You'll see him Saturday, Senior Day at the Hambly Complex. R.J., good luck to you Saturday, your finale against Georgetown, and in your future.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
R.J. Gordon, our guest on the Al Holland Show. We'll step out. We'll be rejoined by another member of the Bears team, a senior from the defensive side. Coming up next, it's presented by Appalachian Wireless, live from Buffalo Wild Wings. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville. It's home of the Al Holland Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We remain in the Bears Den, and time to meet a member of the Bears roster from the defensive side. Another senior, a 5'8" defensive back out of LaGrange, Georgia. Derek Harris joins us now. And Derek, welcome to the Al Holland Show.
Thank you. It's my first time on here.
Indeed, and wrapping up a career at the University of Pikeville. Senior Day coming up Saturday with Kentucky Christian at the Hambley Complex. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about Derek Harris, the student athlete. What's your major, Derek?
My major is communication. I plan after I graduate to, just work at Delta Airlines back in Atlanta, Georgia, back in my home state.
Sure.
So I'm trying to get that worked out right now.
Absolutely. Of course, a great employer and a large employer in that area. And Derek's heading back to Georgia. Just talked to R.J. Gordon. He's going to stick around here.
Oh, he is?
How about that?
Oh, he didn't tell me that yet.
How about that? Derek, of course, you've been playing football for a long time.
Yes,
Many
sir.
guys that are playing football at the college level began at an early age. Let's talk about the early days of your football career. When did you begin playing?
I think I began playing at around 8. I used to basically play backyard football all the time.
Sure.
My dad was like, we'll just sign you up since you want to be a tough boy. And, he's the one who coached me when I was young, so I've been learning from him until middle school and high school and stuff.
Was your dad one of the greatest football influences in your life?
Most likely, yes. Him and, my older brother bullied me most of the time, so I guess they just made me be a tough boy. But Mama tried to always baby me, but – got the best of me, both of them.
Yeah, they're keeping you honest with that. Derek, Senior Day coming up Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
The final time you put on pads at home. Any idea what that's going to feel like?
I think I'm going to be a little nervous just because it's my last time. But, once those pads start popping, I'm back to a regular self out there on the defense trying to help us get a dub at the end of the day.
There you go. Of course, your team now 3-1 in the Mid-South Conference East and still up for grabs. You can get a share of the Mid-South East Championship by winning out. Has that been talked about in practice and since Saturday?
Since last Saturday, it's been mentioned, but we're just focusing game by game, just trying to get it week by week and try to win out. I know Coach has been just trying to get us to perfect our craft. Like sometimes we don't finish games, sometimes we don't start games the best way, but we're just trying to finish all around for 60 minutes.
Your final home game, it will be an emotional day, I'm sure. What would be a perfect day for Derek Harris on the field on Senior Day?
Perfect day. I say I get a couple of tackles, like 5 maybe. Try to get a sack in. Coach like to blitz a lot, so
sure.
Hopefully I get a sack. And the greatest goal for me is watching my parents just see me out there playing on the field and seeing how proud they are of me.
Very good. I'm going to add a little bonus to it. Let's see a pick 6 Saturday.
Pick 6?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try to get one.
We'll do that. Derek Harris, you'll see him on the field at the Hambley Complex Saturday as the Bears host Kentucky Christian. 1:30 kickoff, Senior Day, and we'd love to see a big crowd there as the Bears wrap up the home schedule this year. You're tuned to the Al Holland Show. We'll be rejoined by the coach momentarily, and we'll preview Kentucky Christian. That's coming up. The Al Holland Show presented by Appalachian Wireless, live from Buffalo Wild Wings. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville. It's the Al Holland Show presented by Appalachian Wireless, and we're rejoined by your head coach of the University of Pikeville Bears, Coach Al Holland. Of course, Kentucky Christian coming up Saturday, the final home game of the season for this squad, and the final day for several seniors as well. Talk about Senior Day. What does it mean for a coach who's been with these guys for several years?
It'll be an emotional day, and it's a special group of young men. You got a couple guys that haven't been able to play their senior year, 2 or 3 of those guys, and still been right around the program and finding a different role now. And you hate to see that, but, you love to see their energy day in and day out around the guys. And then, the typical guys that's out there every single day. And you got guys like David Roberson that came back from ACL surgery just to be able to play these down the stretch here for a senior season. And, that means a lot. But, each one of these guys are special, and they're a great group of guys. They got bright futures. Whether, some of them's going to try to continue to play ball, and some of them's wanting to get into coaching, and then others, just get out in the normal work world and and find their jobs. But a special group of young men that stuck together and continue to fight day in and day out. And this group's going to be missed, and they've been together, and hopefully this thing ends up being a special year for us.
Not just on the football field, they obviously will be missed there, but on campus, and also with the seniors like you have here, a lot of your leadership in the locker room, on the sidelines, on the field comes from these guys.
Oh, it does. And, just, up in on campus, just like Jamar Kirksey, all you know him for is being a running back. But, being part of the growl group that teaches, the freshman orientation and showing students around campus and things like that, and that means a lot. And, each one of these guys have a different part of the campus life, from, a couple of them being the RAs of the year. And, it says of how much they work and outside of football that people don't even recognize.
Sure.
But, a great group of young men.
Absolutely, and of course they will be missed. You can say so long to these guys. Saturday, the Hambley Complex, as Kentucky Christian University comes to town in Mid-South Conference East action. And back to the field, the Bears now 3-1 in the East. You win out, you get a share of the championship. Let's get a quick scouting report on Kentucky Christian.
Kentucky Christian, their defense is really, really good, and that's where their backbone of their football team is. So it's going to be big for our offense to find a way to move the football this week and put some points on the board. I feel like our defense ought to be able to play strong. They're young on offense. We got to take advantage of that, being a senior-oriented, junior-oriented defense that we got to go out there and take advantage of. And that's what this football team's built around, is around this defense. Special teams has got to be solid. It's got to change the field for us. We cannot turn the ball over. We got to create some turnovers this weekend.
You mentioned earlier Demir Karapanzik and the job that he's done. There are a lot of SEC schools that would love to have a specialist of his abilities, because he's been huge, and it makes such a difference in the Mid-South.
Oh, it sure does. And, we can do so many different things with him, whether we want a rugby punt or whether it's a regular punt for us, or, he's made a 42-yard field goal a couple times, back-to-back games here. Leading up to this past game, so just that consistency week in and week out has been big for us, and that's been big in watching him grow over the past 4 years and do that for us.
Absolutely. Offensively, you've battled the injury bug all season long. Since early on, you lose a starting quarterback, you lose another quarterback last week. What does the offense, what adjustments do you make this week?
We found a way, and it's just the next guy up mentality. We got to find a way and find some wrinkles within the offense. We'll taper it back a little bit, but add a couple things here or there that might be able to give these guys a better chance to be successful. But it has been tough. You get one guy ready to go, and then you lose him. You got another guy ready to go, you lose him. You got a receiver that's had 2 100-yard receiving games. Olinger, he's been out for the rest of the season.
Sure.
So it's been tough, and trying to find those pieces. But we will continue to work and grind it out, and hopefully put up some big points this weekend.
The small college level, you're always trying to develop depth.
That's right.
Because when a player goes down, you need that guy that can step in, and you lose nothing. You miss nothing on the field. You've got 16 seniors you're saying so long to,
That's right.
And obviously you've developed a little more depth than we had 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Right.
But is depth where you want it to be at this point? People see a huge roster and they say, well, you've got depth.
That's right.
Not necessarily.
They don't understand. And, whether it's us or Mark Stoops, nobody's never happy with their depth. You always want to have more depth. But, having 16 seniors, that means a lot. But, we've played some other guys, and now it's created competition at some positions. Some guys just aren't ready for that big moment yet. And, they're better in a backup role and playing in a limited role. And sometimes, whenever they get their number called, they're just not ready at that moment. But you like getting those guys some reps. But, whenever their number's called for every snap, not saying that they're not great football players, because at some point in time they're going to play a big role for us in this team moving forward. But we just got to continue to work and stick together and continue to push those guys and encourage them, and that's going to help us in the long run. Because 7 years ago we had 4 seniors when we first got here. 16 today. And that's going to be big for us, and we got to continue to do that. My biggest moment is watching these guys walk across the stage in May and get that diploma.
Absolutely. Kentucky Christian Saturday at the Hambley Complex, Senior Day. For fans that are going to be at the game, what style will we see out of Kentucky Christian offensively?
They're going to spread it out and try to run their quarterback some. And, he's missed a couple games himself past few weeks, but he was back this past weekend in their win over Cincinnati Christian. So they're going to try to spread the ball around the field. We got to put pressure on him, make him make quick decisions, hopefully create some turnovers with our defense.
Senior Day will say so long to the group that is here at Buffalo Wild Wings tonight as they put on the pads for the final time at home. Coach, let's see a big crowd Saturday, and let's get a big win.
Looking for a big crowd, and about 1:10 we'll start our Senior Day activities. So try to get there early and support these young men for their last home game here at the Hamley Complex.
Absolutely, get there really early, about 11:30. Join us for tailgating at the Bear Grounds. Welcome these guys as they arrive at the field, and then Senior Day festivities during the pregame. Join us at the Hamley Complex in Pikeville Senior Day. Coach, let's get a big win.
Sounds good.
Coach Al Holland, head coach of your University of Pikeville Bears. Also, thanks tonight to R.J. Gordon, 6'2 senior out of Lancaster, California, and Derek Harris, a 5'8 senior out of Georgia. You'll see them during Senior Day festivities Saturday as Kentucky Christian comes to town. You'll hear complete coverage on Z1075, your official home for UPike Athletics. On behalf of Coach Al Holland and the University of Bears football program, University of Pikeville Bears football program, I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in. It's been presented by Appalachian Wireless.